Hi everybody, my name is Haydn and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be talking about the new encrypted messaging app called Signal. So let's first talk about what Signal is. So Signal is a open source non-profit company, which basically means they're not for profit. So they're not designed to, go out and make profit and make a shareholders. They're a non-profit company that rely on donations in order for them to run their company. Compared to other companies, you have a product, you sell it, you make money, you reinvest that into the company and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. For Signal, they don't have that concept at all. It's non-profit. They simply rely on donations in order to fund what they're trying to do. So if people like them, you donate to them and it carries on. Similar to Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the best example of this on the internet. So sometimes you log onto Wikipedia and it says at the top, please donate, because we need more money basically. That's what Signal is. And the second word I said there was open source, which means basically all the code to run Signal is publicly visible and viewable online. So you can log on to signal.com where GitHub, where they've got their code, and you can see it and you can read it, which you'd probably think, oh, why would you want people to do this? Which is kind of a misconception of open source, is that the more people you have looking at a problem, the more eyes you can get on the problem, which means you can spot problems in the code base. So let's say, I don't know, there's a feature that basically if you have 5 developers working on this app and you have the skill set of all those 5 developers, whereas when it's open source you can basically have the skill set of everybody in the entire world, because anybody can kind of contribute to the code base, as long as obviously the creators of the code, the people that kind of are in charge of making sure what goes out, approves it and kind of merges that in. You basically have access to everybody in the world. So if you're really into the app and you want to kind of give back to it rather than maybe donating, you could give back some code. If you was a programmer, you could say, hey, I noticed this feature didn't work very well, I want to add this, so I've added this, blah 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 blah. Which is kind of a misconception of open source. People think open source means oh, why are you giving it away for free? But it's not. You're basically just opening it up for everybody to help out with. It's kind of like a contribution effort from everybody in the entire world. Let's now move on to the kind of encryption side of what Signal is. So Signal is an encrypted messaging app, which basically means when you send a message from A to B, only you and the person you send that message to sees the message. Nobody else can intercept it. It's not stored on any servers anywhere. Signal come out and said that they literally only store your telephone number, or the number that you sign up to the account with, and the date that your profile was created. So they store 2 bits of information about you, and that is it. Everything else is between you and the person you send your message to. So they basically created their own encryption algorithm. Basically, when you type out your message on your phone, it will encrypt it. So basically, for simple terms, it wraps it up into a lock, puts loads of locks and chains on it, has a key. You send it to your friend along with the keys, they unlock it, and then they can read your message. But obviously nobody else can read your message because it's got these locks on it, and they can't see it, they don't have the keys for the locks, they can't get into your message. Kind of the encryption and the open source thing kind of comes hand in hand, because obviously the encryption makes sure that only you and the person that you're sending the message to can see the message, whereas the open source thing also means that because everybody can view the code, it has to be 100% bulletproof. Because if you have, for example, a bad person that wants to come in and hack into Signal, they can see the code and reverse engineer what's going on. They'll be able to see everyone's messages, right? But that's where the Signal's encryption kind of protocol comes in. Because it is open source, it means that even if you can see the code, you still can't undo the encryption, because the encryption only happens between you and the person that you sent the message to. There's no way that you can intercept that message and unencrypt it. So it's open source, everybody can read it, which means everybody has eyes on the code that does that, which means everybody can spot if there's a bug or there's an issue with it, or if it's not as robust as it needs to be, and everybody can contribute to it and everyone can give back. This is quite a weird concept to explain to people not in software development, because the world of open source seems to just blow people's minds of why would you ever make anything open source, why would you ever give anything away for free? But I think people in software development, we enjoy a challenge of building these things, so we don't mind when we align to something like an encrypted messaging service and you're really into it, you don't mind giving some of your time to kind of code it up and help it and contribute to it. And obviously it makes the app better, it makes you using it because you're using the app, it makes your life easier. Imagine if you really wanted a feature on an app and you knew how to build it, you could literally just build it, contribute the code, and then that's it, it's in and it's available for everyone. It's fantastic. Why would you not want that? So hopefully that kind of gives you a decent understanding of what Signal is. There are obviously, you can do encryption in other messaging apps, but the kind of a big distinction between Signal and everything else is that Signal do not store any information about you except your number and the date you created your account, whereas all of the other broad stroke saying this, all of the other kind of messaging systems will, you know, save your messages on a server somewhere, save your contact list on a server, save your account information when you logged in, your profile picture, your name, number, somewhere, so that they can access it if they need to be, whereas Signal does not do that at all. It's literally your number and the date you created your account. So when you send messages, it's just between you and the person you send a message to. And I think one of the big rises of why Signal has become so popular is because people are kind of understanding privacy on the internet, and how, you know, every click is tracked, and every web page you go on is tracked, and every news article you read is tracked, and for how long you read it. And I think people are kind of understanding that privacy is becoming a bigger thing now on the internet, and people are kind of waking up to this idea. I'd fully recommend watching the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix if you've not already. It really does a good explanation of kind of understanding privacy and how, you know, data is being stored and stuff like this. So I'd fully recommend going and watching that. It does a way better job of explaining privacy than I ever will. Hopefully that gives you a good understanding of what Signal is. If you have any comments or questions, do leave them down below. I will try to answer them for you, or, you know, someone else will try to answer it on your behalf. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe. Helps me out, helps the channel grow. Yeah, I hope you found this useful. I hope it kind of gave you a bit more insight into what Signal is and why, you know, it's exploded as such. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.